What is going on, everybody? Is James Harden a problem? I believe he is. Right now, the Clippers are 0-2 in games that James Harden has played. Well, since he's been gone from Philly, oh my gosh, they have dominated. They beat Boston last night, which is a huge accomplishment for Philadelphia. But James Harden has been kind of bad. Like, shooting wise, he's whatever. He's put up, I think, like 17, and I think he put up 12 last night against Brooklyn. Nothing crazy, nothing that awful, but he's not racking up the assists. But the big thing for me is he's had massive negative plus minuses, which isn't the biggest thing. But if you watched him, he just does not play any position on the basketball field. He's literally stood there and watched the offense. When he doesn't have the ball in his hands and any one of the other dudes are out there dribbling around with the ball, he's just standing at the top of the key, so uninvolved, so unenthused with their offense. It's a bad look for James Harden in particular, but the whole team in itself. You just traded away a bunch of pieces who have gone off and performed well in Philly. Nicholas Batum's been playing really well. So has Robert Covington. I mean, these guys have played well. Maybe the other guys haven't played too much. Marcus Morris did play pretty well in the one game he has played, hasn't played a ton. But you also gave up a very valuable draft pick. You are the oldest team in the NBA. A 2028 draft pick might be a top 10 draft pick, and you gave that up for a guy that's right now not looking like he's helping you very much. In fact, I think he's hurting you. Him on the court has obviously been a negative. I think he was negative 15 last night, and I think the game before that he was still negative. He has 7 turnovers in these 2 games, which is not the craziest number, but it is kind of high to a point for a guy that's not scoring, racking up assists, or rebounding. If you watch him, he's, again, detached playing defense. He's just out there doing nothing. Like, I think he's realized that he is not going to be the 1 or 2 option even in this offense, which is what I feel like he wanted. And I don't know why he thought going to the Clippers he was going to be the 1 or the 2. I don't know if he just assumed Paul George and Kawhi would get hurt, and that's what his plan is. So, like, those guys go down, and he takes over that 1 or 2 spot, and then he could do whatever he wants to do, like James Harden in Houston could do. But he's just not the guy anymore. He will never be really the 1 in most teams' offenses, because he's just not that good anymore. He's a solid enough shooter still, but he doesn't do anything else for you. He can pass the ball, yeah, whatever, but that's only because Philly had Joel Embiid, so he just kind of passed it to Embiid, and he racked up his assists because Embiid is a massive-ass human being and can dominate anywhere, I would imagine. But James Harden ain't doing that here. He ain't gonna do it here. I mean, given the fact that, he hasn't. 2 games in, they've lost both. Heck, PJ Tucker's been more valuable at this point if you look at his plus minuses, and I know that's not the biggest telltale and something that's not going to completely prove what he's doing, but at the same sense, at least PJ Tucker looks like he's trying when he doesn't have the ball in his hand. As James Harden just kind of seems like he's standing there, and I get it. You have your assignments and stuff, and maybe his top of his key is where he's supposed to be, but, he looks so unenthused in the offense that just standing there cannot be just your assignment. You have to be doing something. You're not moving. You're not trying to create space, open up space for Kawhi, PG, or Russ. You're just kind of just chilling out. You're basically a worthless position spot on the court. Something that PJ Tucker has actually been for a few years for Philly, or I guess last year when they signed him. He was definition of a worthless, pointless spot on the court. A guy on offense that just stood in the corner and did nothing. Now James Harden's standing at the top of the key, occasionally gets the ball, then he passes out, and he doesn't do a whole lot. So I kind of don't get what his purpose is, to be honest with you. He hasn't done much, and I don't think he's going to do much, because, we all know what James Harden is. This is where he wanted to go, and I think he's already upset, because I think he went here thinking that somehow he was going to be the 1 over PG and Kawhi, and he's found out he might even be 4 behind Russ. He's not. He's definitely the 3rd option in this team, but he doesn't like that. The things that he was saying, that he's not a system player, he's a system, that stuff tells me that he still thinks that he's the number 1 option on a team, and realistically he would only be the number 1 option on a really bad team at this point in his career. It's something some guys have to accept. Russell Westbrook has accepted it the last few years, and people still crap on him, and Harden hasn't and won't, except that he's no longer a number one option. It's just not what he is anymore. He's not the James Harden that won MVP, scoring titles, and all that stuff back in Houston. And I don't think he ever will be. No matter what he thinks he'll be, he's just not that anymore. He's got to accept his new role. He's not a number one. It's kind of like Bradley Beal right now in Phoenix. I mean, I don't think he's even played a game for Phoenix, but when he does, he knows he's not going to be the number one option. And I don't think he's got a problem with that. I mean, you have to be delusional to think you're starting as the number one option over D-Book or KD, which would be nuts. And I think, honestly, if you swap out Beal for Harden there, I think Harden would think he's the number one option in that starting rotation. I think that's why he didn't like Brooklyn, that's why he didn't like Philly, and that's why he's not liking the Clippers now. Now, granted, might be the most overreaction for 2 games split, but I think this is just what James Harden does. And I think we all know this is what James Harden does because he does it every year over and over and over. So why is this shocking? It's not, because this is just what James Harden does. He's going to keep doing this until somebody stops him or he's out of the league, which I think could be getting closer than we think, because sometimes the NBA stops dealing with these guys who think they own the planet, and James Harden thinks he owns the planet. And I think that's going to affect the Clippers this year and might hurt them, because the West is stacked, and I think they're fine as long as PG and Kawhi could have stayed healthy anyway. I think James Harden makes things worse for them. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Everything matters to me. See you in the next video.